In today's video, I'm going to give you an update on India's feet. Hi everybody, my name's Chloe and on this channel we talk about parenting and helping you be the best parent you can. So if you're new here, please think about subscribing and let's get straight into the video. So about a few weeks ago, I did a day in the life talking about India's feet and apparently, well, potentially being positional talipes. I'll leave a link down to that video down below, so go and check that out if you want. We were told at that appointment she hasn't got positional talipes, she's got Metatarsus Adductus, or Metatarsus Varus it's also known as, or Varus, or something like that. India was prescribed some boots and bar which hadn't arrived when we got them, but they have arrived now, and this is them. So these are the boots that she has, and they're nice and pink. We didn't order that colour, they came as that. They are known as leather. And then they've got a solid base at the bottom, and then this is her bar that goes in between the shoes. This luckily has a left and a right on it. The buckle goes on the inside of her foot, so this is for her right foot and this one is for her left foot. The bar goes on like so, on that side, and on that side, the other way. And then her feet go in there like that, and her feet are outwards. It's a bit invasive, if I'm honest. She wore it a couple of times during the day, which she did really well with. I'll insert a photo about here that you can see she was really happy. She wasn't phased. She was phased when the physio was putting them on. She wasn't happy about that, but when I put them on, she's fine. We put them on Saturday night, and she woke up every half hour. And then Dan rang me at about 10 o'clock at night because I was babysitting, and said she keeps waking up. Every time she tries to move, she keeps getting upset. So I said take them off, because for now her brain development and her sleep is more important than her sort of physical development. Now, India's foot is barely like wonky. It's like, say this is your foot, or like, let's do it this way, like this is the edge of your foot and it's meant to be straight. Hers is like that, maybe. So it's hardly wonky. We've done some research ourselves. And we have found that Metatarsus Adductus, I'm going to call it MA for short, MA is meant to be, one of the treatment methods is something using a B-backs boot. Now, I haven't spoken to my physio about this because he's never mentioned it, so I'm with my physio tomorrow, so I'm going to mention it tomorrow. We've decided not to put these on her at night anymore. I'm going to try and put these on her during the day. The biggest issue that I have is that these have to go really tight for them to stay on. And then when you take them off, it's basically imprinted on the foot. So it's a bit nasty. So when I put her in this boot, which is her bad foot, her foot has to stay straight, because if you look inside, it's got nowhere else to go, so it has to stay straight. So tomorrow when I go to the physio, I'm going to ask him if we can get any B-backs boots under the NHS and the hospital that we're at, but also if we can't, is it possible that she doesn't have to wear the bar, and if she just wears that, because it's rigid enough that I would have thought that might work. So I'm going to check that with him. The other thing I'm going to ask him about is just leaving it, because there's a very famous hospital in America, and I can't remember the name of it. If I ask Dan, I'll leave it coming up here on the screen. And they suggest that with Metatarsus Adductus, if the foot is flexible, which hers is, then it's best to leave it until they're about 3 years old, and if nothing's happened then you correct it. And if I'm honest, it just seems like everything says to leave it alone. So I'm not really sure what to do. I know the medical professionals are saying, well, one medical professional is saying to put the boots and bars on, but he said that it's using a sledgehammer to crack a walnut. So basically, Metatarsus Adductus is not a very well-known condition. They don't really know how to correct it. There's no set method on how to correct it. So nobody actually really knows what they should be doing, other than the NHS and other hospitals who just say leave it alone and then monitor it as she gets older. The funny thing is, it does seem to be getting better. There are times where she is straightening it herself and she can straighten it and it does go straight. So I'm wondering if it's just worth leaving it to be straight. But anyway, we're at the hospital again tomorrow for her update. I'm going to tell him we're not doing boots and bars at night. Her development is more important. But obviously I'm going to suggest just to wear the boot without the bar and see what he says to that. I'm going to ask if there's any chance we can get B-back boots. He may suggest to wear the boots and the bars in during the day, which is okay, but I don't want her to wear it 12 hours a day because it's going to delay her development, and she's already started to try to crawl, and I don't really want to delay her development. Also, I don't want people looking at her, so I'm reluctant to put it on during the day. I'm happy to do more stretches and for longer and things like that. So yeah, I'll update you tomorrow and we'll see how it goes. So I went to the physio the other day, and I thought I'd obviously give you an update on where we're at with India's boots and bars. Obviously the boots and bars weren't going very well, and I told the physio this, and he said, I knew this would happen. She's 9 months old. Normally they get boots and bars at about 8 weeks old, not 9 months. So he was half expecting her not to cope very well. Because this condition is 1 in 5,000 children have this, he wasn't sure what else to do. There is something called an ADM brace, which is basically like the boots and bars, but they don't have the bar in the middle, they just have a spring. And that basically means that her legs won't be quite so restricted to move. The problem with having this ADM brace is that they're very expensive and they prefer not to use them. I did my own research quite a lot before the physio appointment, and found that a lot of hospitals were saying that if you leave it, it will rectify itself when they start to walk. My physio did say she has an incredibly mild case of Metatarsus Adductus, so it's not severe. So I basically suggested, well, if you think about it, if we wear shoes, our feet are straight because they have to be straight because our shoes are straight, they don't bend over. So I said, why don't I go to Clark's, go and buy her some shoes and try those for a couple of months during the day for like 12 hours and see how she gets on. And he ummed and ahed a bit, didn't really know whether it was worth doing that. So then he said, okay, yeah, let's give it a go. So what he said was that the shoe has to be quite hard down the side, and it needs to be solid, and she needs to wear it like 12 hours a day. So I thought, brilliant, we'll go and get some shoes. We went and got her some shoes. They only cost us £12 because they were in the sale. Hooray! So she's been wearing those, and from what I can tell, her foot is looking straighter. The reason it works is because her big toe shouldn't, if it falls outwards, the foot will follow, but because she's wearing a shoe, she's got nowhere to move this big toe. So technically this should work. and also it's going to be a lot more comfortable for India and not quite such a big deal that she's wearing shoes all the time. So hopefully this will work. I will keep you updated on how we get on, and I hope to see you in my next video. If you like this video, please hit the subscribe button, and I hope to see you soon. Bye guys!